Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Guruji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sadhana Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Koti Pranam
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, we have our Mataji here. Bengali Mataji Kuhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda.
Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda.
Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Prabhu kahe Vedanta Sutra Ishvara Vachana. Vyasa Rupe Kaila Yahashi Narayana.
Prabhu kahe Vedanta Sutra Ishvara Vachana. Vyasa Rupe Kaila Jaha Shri Narayana.
Yes, Kuhu Mata this time.
প্রভু কাহে বেদান্ত সূত্র ঈশ্বর বচন ব্যাস রূপে কইল যাহা শ্রী নারায়ণ.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord said, Vedanta philosophy consists of words spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana in the form of Vyasadeva. Purport: the Vedanta Sutra, which consists of aphorisms revealing the method of understanding Vedic knowledge, is the concise form of all Vedic knowledge. It begins with the words Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. The human form of life is especially meant for this purpose, and therefore the Vedanta Sutra very concisely explains the human mission. This is confirmed by the words of Vayu and Skanda Puranas, which defined a sutra as follows. Alpaksharam asandhigdham saravat vishvato mukham asthobham anavadyam cha sutram sutra vido viduhu. A sutra is a compilation of aphorisms that expresses the essence of all knowledge in minimum of words. It must be universally applicable and faultless in its linguistic presentation. Anyone familiar with the sutras must be aware of Vedanta Sutra, which is well known among scholars by the following additional names: Brahma Sutra, Shariraka, Vyasa Sutra, Badarayana Sutra, Uttara Mimamsa, and Vedanta Darshana. There are 4 chapters, Adhyayas, in the Vedanta Sutra, and there are 4 division, Padas, in each chapter. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra may be referred as Shodasha Pada, or 16 divisions of aphorisms. The theme of each and every division is fully described in terms of 5 different subject matters, Adhikaranas, which are technically called Pratigna, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya, and Nigamana. Every theme must necessarily be explained with reference to Pratigna, or a solemn declaration of the purpose of the treatise. The solemn declaration given in the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra is Atato Brahma Jignasa, which indicates that this book was written with the solemn declaration to inquire about the absolute truth. Similarly, reasons must be expressed, Hetu. Examples must be given in terms of various facts, Udaharana. The theme must gradually be brought nearer for understanding, Upanaya. And finally, it must be supported by authoritative quotations from the Vedic Shastras, Nigamana. Hare Krishna. According to the great dictionary compiler Hemachandra, also known as Poshakara, Vedanta refers to the purport of Upanishads and the Brahmana portion of the Vedas. Professor Apte, in his dictionary, describes the Brahmana portion of the Vedas as that portion which states the rules for employment of hymns at various sacrifices and gives detailed explanations of their origin, sometimes with lengthy illustrations in the form of legends and stories. It is distinct from the mantra portion of the Vedas. Hemachandra says that the supplement of the Vedas is called Vedanta Sutra. Veda means knowledge and Anta means the end. In other words, proper understanding of the ultimate purport of the Vedas is called Vedanta knowledge. Such knowledge, as given in the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra, must be supported by the Upanishads. According to learned scholars, there are three different sources of knowledge which are called Prasthanatraya. According to these scholars, Vedanta is one of such sources, for it represents Vedic knowledge on the basis of logic and sound arguments. In the Bhagavad Gita 13.5, the Lord says, Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva Hetu Madbhir Vinishtithai. Understanding of the ultimate goal of life is ascertained in the Brahma Sutra by legitimate logic and argument concerning cause and effect. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra is known as Nyaya Prasthana. The Upanishads are known as Shruti Prasthana, and the Gita, Mahabharata, and the Puranas are known as Smriti Prasthana. All scientific knowledge of transcendence must be supported by Shruti, Smriti, and a sound logical basis. It is said that both the Vedic knowledge and the supplement of the Vedas are called Satvata Pancharatra, emanated from the breathing of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedanta Sutra aphorisms were compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, a powerful incarnation of Sri Narayana, although it is sometimes said that they were compiled by a great sage named Apantaratma. Apantaratama. The Pancharatra and Veda Sutra, however, express the same opinions. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirms that there is no difference in opinion between the two, and he declares that because the Vedanta Sutra was compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, it may be understood to have emanated from the breathing of Sri Narayana. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura comments that while Vyasadeva was compiling the Vedanta Sutra, 7 of his great saintly contemporaries were also engaged in similar work. These saints were Atreya Rishi, Ashmarathya, Audolombi, Karshanajini, Kashakritsna, Jaimini, and Badari. In addition, it is said that Parashari and Karmandi Bhikshu also discussed the Vedanta Sutra aphorisms before Vyasadeva. As mentioned above, the Vedanta Sutra consists of 4 chapters. The first 2 chapters discuss the relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is known as Sambandha Gnana, or knowledge of the relationship. The third chapter describes how one can act in his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Abhidheya Gnana. The relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Lord is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. The living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna, the Supreme God. Therefore, to act in that relationship, one must perform sadhana bhakti, or the prescribed duties of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Abhidheya Gnana. The 4th chapter describes the results of such devotional service, Prayojana Gnana. This ultimate goal of life is to go back home, get back to Godhead. The words Anavritti Shabdat in the Vedanta Sutra indicates this ultimate goal. Srila Vyasadeva, a powerful incarnation of Narayana, compiled the Vedanta Sutra, and in order to protect it from unauthorized commentaries, he personally composed Srimad Bhagavatam on the instruction of his spiritual master Narada Muni as the original commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Besides Srimad Bhagavatam, there are commentaries on the Vedanta Sutra composed by all major Vaishnava Acharyas, and in each of them, devotional service to the Lord is described very explicitly. Only those who follow Shankara's commentary have described the Vedanta Sutra in an impersonal way, without reference to Vishnu Bhakti or devotional service to the Lord Vishnu. Generally, people very much appreciate this Sharirika Bhashya or impersonal description of the Vedanta Sutra, but all commentaries that are devoid of devotional service to Lord Vishnu must be considered to differ in purport from the original Vedanta Sutra. In other words, Lord Chaitanya definitely confirms that the commentaries or bhashyas written by Vaishnava Acharyas on the basis of devotional service to Lord Vishnu and not the Sharirika Bhashya of Shankaracharya give the actual explanation of Vedanta Sutra. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाशातदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। प्रभु कहे वेदांत सूत्र ईश्वर वचना व्यास रूपे कैलाया श्री नारायण।
प्रभु कहे वेदांत सूत्र
वचन रूपे कोइलो श्री नारायण।
The Lord said Vedanta philosophy consists of words spoken by the Supreme Personality of God, Narayana, in the form of Vyasadeva. So many things in this purport we generally don't discuss in Prabhupada books. So there are certain details here. So Prabhupada has taken so much effort to put them, so let us understand them. Okay? Now, what was easy that we know, Vedanta Sutra begins with Athāta Brahma Jigyasa. We know that. Now, let us have time to inquire about absolute truth. So this is such a beautiful book which begins with the word therefore. Every book ends with the word therefore. This book begins with the word therefore. Because we are in the human form of life, therefore. We have already passed lakhs of species, therefore. Now it's a time for Brahma Jigyasa. So now is the time. It's a very unique book in the whole world. Begins with the word therefore. And begins, please ask questions. I wish when we have the college, the aphorism by this thing is Athāta Brahma Jigyasa. Please inquire. And in fact, it is true, if you go to these silly schools and colleges today, they cannot fulfill the real inquiries of anybody. Just like when Sanatana Goswami asked two questions to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I and why I am suffering? These ABCD questions cannot be answered by any university in the world. They're just big structures in which no knowledge is given. Simply waste people's time. Teaching skills. For that, you don't need college. Many people who have actually gone to, different jobs, they openly tell, we wasted all 4 years in the college, minute by minute. Because on the job, Shudra in the Vedic time doesn't go to college. He learns on the field. You got it? So suppose you want to learn how to repair a car, what do? The best thing is go on this field and learn. You want to learn how to make a pot, go on the field and learn. You want to learn how to, make a scissor, you go on the field and learn. Correct? You want to learn how to make a bow and arrow, you go on the field and run. But they have created a civilization of Ugra Karma. What kind of civilization? Ugra Karma. They say that medicine, then Prabhupada said medicine is a Rakshasi treatment. He never recommended that. And they spent 10-15 years studying that. And then when the doctors go on leave, more people survive than they die. Heard that joke? In Israel, doctors went on leave for 1 year, there was a strike. That year, the death rate reduced. So actually, they're not taken to task. How many doctors with their, this Rakshasi treatment, they kill more people than they survive. We had a case in our place also. We got an allopathy doctor for our cow. He put so many heavy antibiotic injections, the kidney collapsed, the cow died. And whereas it could have been revived. But true, we have no effort to put first, revive back Ayurveda, then we can talk. But in essence, it's a Rakshasa treatment. I remember when I went to meet one of my classmates. So his husband and wife said, oh, we are so pro-Hindutva and all this thing. I said, anyway, what do you do to the wife? He said, I'm a allopathy doctor. Allopathy doctor? Rakshasi treatment. So much proud. So all the learning some silly skills and becoming proud. There is not even an iota of knowledge being taught. In fact, what knowledge is needed is already there in the Vedas. To live in this world, everything is there. Medicine system is there in Ayurveda. Other places you have Dhanurveda, this Veda. Whatever you need, it is there in the Vedas and the Angas of the Vedas. Upangas, Angas. They say Upangas. Ayurveda, what they call Upanga. different, anyway, divisions of the Vedas. Yeah, everything is there. But whatever is the rest, what we are becoming so much engrossed, actually. So the human life begins the day we ask this question, Athat Brahma Jigyasa. And not only that, it begins, this question should predominate our consciousness all the time. Why it is so I left service to Krishna? How is it that I can become a pure devotee? This question should predominate our consciousness all day. How is it that, the Parikshit Maharaj could for 7 days hear without a break? How could he do that? I can't read for 1 hour, 1 minute, and he could for 7 days hear Bhagavatam. How could he do that? Even Arjuna, with that such a great difficulty in the war, how was he able to hear Bhagavad Gita for? So difficult it is today. People do not even know what to do when they go to temple. Just all day they do sinful activities, and the temple they go some meditation. That's not the temple is meant for. We come to temple with questions. I have a question, sir. Just like a whole education system has collapsed today because nobody is going with any question. It's just one big drama. What is a big bluff? What they call? Big bluff. It's a cheating actually. Nobody wants to learn anything. The humbug system it has created. Therefore, those who are teachers, they know that 95% students are sitting in a college without any interest to learn anything which is being taught. School time, it is not so bad. We used to love the teachers because actually we want to learn. Teacher wants to teach. But as you cross the teenage years, we get haunted by so many sinful desires that we can't even sit for 1 minute. That's a difficulty. Why? So Vedas are not meant for the people. Therefore, Vedic division was very clear. Education was not given to the Shudra, they're sent back home. But Shudras are not by birth. Shudra is a person who doesn't have this inquiry. Athata Brahma Jigyasa, who doesn't have this inquiry, is a Shudra. What is the use of teaching him anything? Put him on the field, let him bend an iron, or let him sweep, that's all he can do. He doesn't have any inquiry. You cannot teach a person who doesn't have any inquiry. Correct? Just like generally when people visit temple, they have zero question within their system. Even if there are questions, they are not fundamental Brahma Jigyasa. They are a silly question. How do I get that girl? The mind is haunted by this. How do I drink? How do I get wealth? All these silly questions. These are animal questions. Human life, these are not the questions. Birds are also asking this question. Where is food? Where is food? And one hand shows another hand, where is food? That's all. Human life is meant for, you begin human life when this question starts in your system. Athat Brahma Jigyasa. Now I have a great inquiry. An example given as Sanatana Goswami, who am I and why I am suffering. Therefore, somebody went to Srila Prabhupada, that famous example I gave you. So Prabhupada, I met one person, he said he's not scared of death and he's very happy. Prabhupada said, don't go to him, he's a madman, don't waste your time. He's a mad person. Any genuine person will have this. How do I avoid death? Why I am suffering? Who am I actually? No, this question, then we are in the human body, just roaming around like animals, actually animals, just like a mobile. It's a very good example, use it for your preaching. We can use it like a paperweight. Is it the use of the mobile? No. So human body in which the only predominating question is, where is food? Where is food? Where is sex? Where is sex? Where do I sleep? Where do I sleep? And how do I protect myself? You are still living an animal life. Correct? Now gradually, we have not come to spiritual life, but we have started asking spiritual questions sometimes. Correct? So that is needed. Athata Brahma Jigyasa is needed. And not only the theoretical understanding, we need realizations. Therefore, we are hearing this Chaitanya Charitamrita. All of you already, to some extent, have appreciating the point. We need spiritual question. But still our mind is absorbed in material enjoyments. And there are a lot of inquiring that's there. So we are compromised. So the compromised condition that we are in, that is called Kanishta Adhikari. In neophyte devotee, we should continue to hear Shastra. Because it will fix you and purify you from weaknesses. So now is the time to inquire, that's how it starts. This much I think you all know. Human form of life is meant for this purpose. Okay? And therefore there are many shlokas supporting this. Parabhavas tavadabodha jatam yavana jigyasa atma. Who knows the shloka? Parabhavas.
पराभवस्तावदबोधजातं यावन्न जिज्ञासद आत्मतत्त्वं यावन् क्रियस्तावदिदं मनोवे कर्मात्मगम्येन शरीरबन्धः हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Okay? So such a beautiful. Please note down. Okay? All of you should be. We should create 1 million teachers. That will be the asset. Correct? So note down. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now is confronted. Is talking Vedanta philosophy. He's not saying I only chant. He's chanting and dancing. But when confronted by the Prakash and the Saraswati, please tell us about Vedanta. He didn't say, oh, I only chant. No, he's ready. So not only understanding philosophy is for preaching, it's for self-conviction also. More and more we see that Shastra is supporting and harmoniously. You know, many people have that. They do appreciate the scriptures when you say, but they have an idea that it is self-contradictory. One portion of the Vedas contradict another portion, so you can take whatever you like. Shishi Radha Govinda ki. So it is not like that. It is very, very harmonious. It is very, very harmonious. So beautiful it is. Okay? Especially men. Okay? And coincides explains the human mission. Vedanta Sutta explains the human mission. Okay? So please let us try to digest, because some of the things I saw in this purport, which I generally do not know. So let us, Prabhupada has taken so much effort, let us just try to learn. So this is also Prabhupada saying this shloka comes in both Vayu Purana and Skanda Purana Sutra. There is a glorification. Alpa Aksharam. Alpa means few words. You know, in a succinctly, very, very succinctly. Like I remember when I was little doing software engineering, we used to do C programming. And C language by nature is very succinct. C, C++. Alpaksharam asandigdham. Now, the sutra is a compilation aphorism that expresses the essence of all knowledge in a minimum word. Saravat vishwato mukham. Ashtobham anavadyam cha. It must be universally applicable and faultless in its linguistic presentation. Sutram, sutra, vido, vido. Look at it. How beautiful glorification is there in two Puranas about Vedanta Sutra. Alpakshar. It's very few words. That is only one Sanskrit word I know there. Prabhuji will know most of them. Saravat vishwato mukham. Ashtobham anavadyam cha. Sutram, sutra, vido, viduhu. It is faultless in its linguistic presentation. It is universally applicable. Just look at how beautiful it is. Anna? You speak in short, what you speak is universally applicable, and it is faultless in its linguistic presentation. Amazing. It's amazing. Okay? Anyone familiar with sutras must be aware of the Vedanta Sutra, which is well known, and among scholars the following additional names. The more names of Vedanta Sutra. It is also called Brahma Sutra. It is also called Sharirika. It is also called Vyasa Sutra. It is called Badarayana Sutra. Uttara Mimamsa. There is Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa. Two portions. Correct? There's the two portions of Veda. Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa. Okay. And Vedanta Darshana. So there are so many words which are used for this. Okay. Okay, now there are 4 chapters, adhyayas of the Vedanta Sutras. There are 4 divisions of every chapter. So how much it becomes? 16. Therefore, Vedanta Sutra refers to Shodasha Pada. Just like you're chanting Hare Krishna mantra has 16 words, so this is also Shodasha 16 division aphorism. Okay. Theme of each and every division fully described in terms of 5 different subject matters called Adhikaranas. Now this is something which is something new, and Prabhupada explains it. Let us try to understand. Pratigna, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya, Nigamana. In that, I know one. Hetu we know. Hetu means cause. Udaharana means example. Rest are new. Let us see. Each theme must necessarily explain with reference to Pratigna, or solemn declaration of purpose of the treatise. Just like before beginning a college, you have to have mission, vision. So you have to have first that. Take a purpose of the treatise. Okay? So there is 5 different subject matter. Okay, so first thing, pratigna should be there. Pratigna. Pratigna. Pratigna, declaration of the purpose. Okay. Pratigya. Pratigna is similar to pratigya. Promise.
Yes, Prabhuji. It is pratigya only.
Huh? Okay, we are promising to explain something. That is called pratigna. We have a Sanskrit scholar here with us, our Gadadhar Prabhuji. So I'm taking his help. Okay. The solemn declaration given at the beginning of Vedas, okay, this is just like Atata Brahma Jigyasa. This is a promise. Let us now inquire about the absolute truth. That gives the interest, in the whole class. Just say you start a class, you should have 5 portions now. Number 1, pratigna. So today we are going to discuss, understand this. Yeah, very nice. Promise to Atata Brahma. Now let us try to understand the absolute truth. Fantastic. The whole book begins with the pratigna. Samajh aaya pratigna? Everybody understood? Note kar lo. Which indicate the book was written with a solemn declaration, inquire about the absolute truth. Very good. The reasons must be explained. Hetu. You have to give reasons, explanation. You're giving a logic and reason. Yeah. That is called hetu. Hetu, Many times we have seen this word in the Shastra. Hetu, hetu, hetu. Example is given in terms of various facts. Udaharana. Udaharan ke liye. Hindi vasi jo hai, unko to pata hai. Udaharan pata. Hetu. Hetu, which any shloka which we have, hetu. Hetu ki kripa. There is bhakti. Savai pumsa parodharma. Who knows the shloka?
सवै पुंसा परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिर अधोक्षजे अहैतुकीय प्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति.
समझ आ गया. That is the word ahetuki means without any cause. So hetu means cause. So you should give some, explanation, reasons, that is hetu. And then udaharana, you should give some good examples to explain the thing. Gradually near the understanding, upanayana, upanaya, upanaya. Upa means near. Upanishad. Naya.
Exalted. Logic.
That is Upanaya. Okay. Nearer for understanding. Okay? Okay. Prabhuji is saying that means exalted logic. Upanaya. Finally, it must be supported by authoritative quotation of Vedanta Shastra. Nigamana. Nigamana. You have to give pramana, evidence from the Shastra. Very nice. So what are the 5 portions? Hetu, Udaharana. No. First, before
Pratigna.
Hetu. Pratigna, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya,
Nigamana.
and Nigamana. आ गया? समझ आ गया? Repeat once more. Pratigna, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanayana, and Nigamana. And any class we have to have that. Today we are going to understand the discussion between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati, or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated the Advaita philosophy. That is what the Pratigna is. Okay, and Hetu, now why I have to say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will tell the causes. Why does he say it is wrong? And then Udaharana, he gives so many examples to understand that. And then after that, he will build the ultimate logic. And then, he build the ultimate logic. Complete, undefeatable, final. And then he will give evidence from the Shastra to also support it. So this is the 5 elements of it. Okay, great. Now dictionary compiler Hemachandra, one of the also known as Koshakara, Vedanta refers to the purport of the Upanishads and Brahmana portion of the Vedas. Okay? This is Vedanta. Professor Apte in his dictionary described Brahmana portion of Vedas as that portion states the rules of employment of hymns at various sacrifices, gives a detailed explanation of the origin, lengthy list of allegiances to it. Therefore, from the mantra portion of the Vedas, Hemachandra says the supplement of the Vedas is called Vedanta Sutra. Veda means knowledge, Anta means the end. Very easy to understand. Veda, Anta, the end of knowledge. That's the conclusion. In other words, proper understanding of the ultimate part of the Vedas is called Vedanta knowledge. Aphorism Vedanta is mostly supported by Upanishads. Okay. According to the learned scholar, there are 3 different sources of knowledge which are called Prasthanataraya. I think this you all know. Correct? There is, what are the Prasthanataraya? Vedanta is one of the sources for its present knowledge on the basis of logic and sound arguments. So this is called Nyaya Prasthana. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva Hetu Madhubir Vinishyatai. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita also, this Krishna himself says, Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva. Krishna himself talks about in the 13th chapter of Brahma Sutras being supportive evidence. Understanding the ultimate goal ascertained a Brahma Sutra by logic and argument concerning cause and effect. Okay. Therefore, Vedanta Sutra is known as Nyaya Prasthana. Upanishad is known as Shruti Prasthana. And the Gita Mahabharata Purana is Smriti Prasthana. There are three evidences. Anything we speak should be supported by these three. What are the three? Nyaya Prasthana, Shruti Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana. Okay, all the three. Must be supported by Shruti, Smriti and sound logical basis. It is said whether both the Vedic knowledge and supplement of the Vedas called Satvata Pancharata emanated breathing of Narayana. Okay? Because anyway Vedavyasa wrote it, he is Narayana himself, and the Vedas also in the beginning emanated from Narayana. Both ways it can be explained. Okay? So they were compiled the same name, Apantaratama. The Pancharatra and the Vedanta Sutra, however, express the same opinion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore comes, there is no difference of opinion of the two. It declared that because Vedanta compiled Vyasa emanated from the breathing of Sri Narayana. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati commented where Vyasa was compiling Vedanta. 7 of his contemporaries was also engaged in similar work. There is, work by Patanjali. There is work by, what are the 6 systems of Indian philosophy? We have Gautama, that is one his, and he was also making sutras. Then you have Kannada, he was also making sutras. And then we have Kapila, not the Kapila we talk about in the Bhagavatam, another Kapila. He was making of Sankhya. Then we had Jaimini, we had Patanjali, so many people are there. So many people are, Jaimini is mentioned here. Okay. It is said that Parashara also discussed Vedanta aphorism before Vyasa. So he put down into writing Vedanta Sutras. There were other people who worked before, and some contemporary, they had their own understanding of the truth. And Vedanta, when Vedavyasa wrote the Vedanta Sutras, he is called Mahamuni because in Vedanta Sutra it demolishes all other arguments of Gautama, Kannada and Jaimini. In his Vedanta Sutra, it defeats all of them towards end. As mentioned above, the Vedanta Sutra consists of 4 chapters. The first 2 chapters discuss Sambandha Jnana. This is very easy to understand. I always explain this easily. F equal to ma is a Sambandha. Force equal to mass into acceleration. Sambandha, relationship. What is the relationship I to Supreme Lord? I am His servant. What is the relationship me to the material world? This is also another energy of Krishna. Correct? That's the Sambandha, fundamental understanding. The second, he says, the 2 chapters are dedicated in Vedanta for that. The 3rd chapter talks about Abhideya Jnana. Abhideya means how do you re-establish? How we can act in the relationship. Okay, I am a servant of Krishna, I am a Jiva. What should I do? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Keep chanting. Okay, then Abhideya. That's called Abhideya. Like in the same example, you heard in the class F equal to MA, you go to the lab and do some experiments to confirm that. It may be 5 MA, 10 MA, you don't know what. So you do confirmation, that is you practice spiritual life, just like we recommend chanting Hare Krishna at the process of Abhideya. Okay. Then relation, living at this Chatmas, Jivara Swarupai Krishnara Nitya Dasa. Okay? And when you act on the relationship, that is Abhideya. They act on the relationship of the sadhana bhakti. That is what we are doing, which one of the important part is chanting. Or the prescribed duties of service to Supreme Personality is Abhideya Jnana. The 4th chapter describes the result of devotion, Prayojana Jnana. Just like you understand the Newton's law, now you can make cars, you can make helicopters just by using that. Okay? Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So you understood you are not body or spirit soul and you are servant of Krishna, Sambandha. Abhideya, you begin the sadhana bhakti. Prayojana, you experience love of Krishna and it dances with the devotees in the spiritual world. The word Anavrita Shabda indicate the ultimate goal. Okay? Itna samajh aa gaya abhi. Srila Vyasa, the powerful incarnate Narayana, compiled the Vedanta Sutta in order to protect it from unauthorized commentary. He wrote Prabhupada calls it natural commentary. He himself wrote a commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam on the request of Narad Muni. Besides Srimad Bhagavatam, there are commentary Vedants compiled by other Vaishnava Acharya, like we have Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Vishnu Swami. They also written Vaishnava commentaries on Vedanta Sutra. In our Sampradaya, we have Baladev Vidyabhushan also writing Govinda Bhashya, and similarly other Sampradaya, there may be other Vaishnava Acharyas writing commentary on Vedanta. So there are enough Vaishnava commentaries on Vedanta. So Sharirika Bhasha is not the only commentary. But most of the society know only that. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to defeat anyway. But follow Sharirika, Shankara's commentary and describe Vedanta Sutta in an impersonal way without reference to Vishnu Bhakti devotional service. Generally, people very much appreciate That's what is most popular in society. Most of the spiritual organizations in the world, they strictly do not follow. Dilutely, they are more taking the essence from Advaita tattva. The devoid and divorce must be considered differ in purport origin of Vedanta Sutta. In other words, Lord Chaitanya definitely confirmed the commentary of Bhashya written by Vaishnava Acharyas on the basis of divorce service Lord, not Sharirika Bhashya of Shankaracharya giving the actual explanation of Vedanta Sutra. Okay, itna samajh aa gaya everybody?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us proceed. Yes, yes, Kuhu Mataji.
ভ্রম প্রমাদ বিপ্রলিপসা করো না পাঠব ঈশ্বরের বাক্য নাহি দোষে সব
Translation. The material defects of mistakes, illusions, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. A mistake is the acceptance of an object to be different from what it is, or the acceptance of false knowledge. For example, one may see a rope in the dark and think it to be a serpent, or one may see a glittering oyster shell and think it to be gold. There are mistakes. These are mistakes. Similarly, an illusion is a misunderstanding that arises from inattention while hearing, and cheating is the transmission of such defective knowledge to others. Materialistic scientists and philosophers generally use such words as maybe and perhaps because they do not have actual knowledge of the complete facts. Therefore, their instructing others is an example of cheating. The final defect of the materialistic person is his inefficient senses. Although our eyes, for example, have the power to see, they cannot see that what is situated at a distance, nor can they can see the eyelid, which is the object nearest to the eye. To our untrained eyes, the sun appears to be just like a plate, and to the eyes of one who is suffering from jaundice, everything appears to be yellow. Therefore, we cannot rely on the knowledge acquired through such imperfect eyes. The ears are equally imperfect. We cannot hear a sound vibrated a long distance away unless we put a telephone to our ear. Similarly, if we analyze all our senses in this way, we will find them all to be imperfect. Therefore, it is useless to acquire knowledge through these senses. The Vedic process is to hear from authority. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.2, the Lord says, Evam param param praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. We have to hear not from a telephone, but from an authorized person, for it is he who has real knowledge. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this is, we have been discussing this. These are the 4 defects of the conditioned souls. Who knows there is a Sanskrit word for them? Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, and Karana Apattava. Prabhupada explained them very nicely. Brahma, mistake, says mistake, taking an object different. You see a rope, you take for a snake. You easily make a mistake. Then illusion, he said illusion comes from an inattention while hearing. Okay? Just like you hear the whistling of the train, you take it to a pressure cooker sound. Somebody, many times they take machine gun and they are killing people, people think it is firework going on. You don't really understand what is the cause. Okay? Cheating is the transformation. There was There was firecrackers, not firecrackers. Somebody was killing people there. Cheating is transmitted on the wrong hearing. Okay, this is a new way to explain. Prabhupada says no nicely, and then Prabhupada says, okay. Therefore, they say, this Prabhupada says, doesn't like this word, maybe, perhaps. In fact, sometimes some people do not understand. That is that we take a stand sometimes anti-science. And how is it that we are taking all the products of science? We are not saying that. What we are saying, in the fundamental issue, the science is still today standing in the platform of theories. Theory is a proposal. It's not proven. That's why it's not called law. It's called theory. Just like we say Big Bang theory. We don't say Big Bang law. We don't say Newton's law. So people even do not know, even in their terminology, they're not agreeing to what they are speaking. They say Miller's theory of origin of life. It's a theory. They didn't say Miller's law. They say Darwin's theory. So when something is perhaps and maybe, that's not knowledge. It's just a proposition. But Vedas, the whole Vedic world, there is not one word called maybe or perhaps. It's facts. Prabhupada therefore says, we want facts. Now suppose the judge calls you in the court. So who did the murder? Maybe he did. What the judge says, please get out of this place. This is not a witness. Maybe, perhaps. How does he write judgment? How does he take witness word? No, maybe, perhaps. Then it's all over. They do not actual knowledge of the complete facts. Okay, done. Therefore the instruction other is cheating. Correct? Therefore, somebody told Srila Prabhupada, I am a teacher. Prabhupada said, you're not a teacher, you're a cheater. Because you don't know what you're teaching. And finally, the final event is inefficient senses. Therefore, Prabhupada says, how we are so proud, show me God. What can you see? Why you're so proud? Your power of the senses is limited. God is everywhere, but we can't see Him now. Okay. The final defect is inefficient. Although the eyes, for example, powerful to see, they cannot see, which is situated at a distance. There are enough optical illusions we see, and we can trap our inefficient senses. Okay. So therefore, it is required through the senses, and this is the beginning of the Vedas. The beginning of the Vedas is, I want to know the absolute truth, definitely. Atatu Brahma Jigyasa, we discussed in the previous verse, but it will not be through the senses. The senses cannot help me. I have to hear from the realized soul. From my own imperfect senses, I cannot understand the truth. It's not that we are denying what you're seeing. First hear, then you see. We give this example every time. Suppose your car is not working. Okay? And if you open the bonnet and see, what you will understand? You will not understand anything. Suppose the mechanic comes, because he has heard properly how the car functions, he immediately knows what is wrong. But so metal scientists and the metal world today is like seeing a car without hearing. Therefore, they don't understand. Srila Prabhupada says, if you have heard properly, if you see even a rose, just by seeing that, you will say God is there. Just by seeing one thing, a rose, yes, God exists. Otherwise, I am seeing. Just like you are not a trained mechanic, you are seeing. So what is wrong? First, hear. What today people are doing, they're so proud of the senses, they don't want to hear authoritative statements. You save time. Now, Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, Bahunama Janamanamante Jnanavan. What is the shloka?
Bahunam janmanamante
ज्ञानवान् मान्
jnanavan
प्रपद्यते
prapadyate
वासुदेवा
vasudeva
सर्वमिति
sarvamiti
समहात्मा सुदुर्लभः
samahatma
Super.
sudurlabha
And Brahma Samhita, Panthastu Koti. Who knows that?
Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso munipungavanam sobhyasti yatra padasimna vichinta tatre govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
So very nice.
Hare Krishna.
All the dictionaries are working now. So, Panthastu Koti. So, crores of years you can travel by the speed of even your mind or the speed of wind. Still you cannot understand the absolute truth. Avachinta tattva. It will remain inconceivable. So therefore, that is a way to better hear from the realized soul. Just like a simple example. You go to school and college. Correct? Now you say that in mechanical engineering, I will not learn from anybody. I will figure out on my own. You're going to waste time. 300 years of whatever they develop, you want to do, that is called reinventing a wheel. You will be after your 100 years of life only, you will be beginning only. It's better to take advantage. That's what everybody does. Even to learn a small thing in engineering, medicine and all their chatka knowledge, for that they're ready to spend 10, 15 years. And to learn spiritual knowledge, they don't think a time is needed. And therefore, Hetu, we are making the Vedic college. Because this knowledge also need to be taught. Correct? At least it symbolizes. True, in ISKCON temple, all temples are Vedic college, but we have physical symbol of it. Yes, this is because people don't understand otherwise. Temple means they go, some aarti ho raha hai, kuch pratna kari, Bhagwan bacha do, job dila do, husband dila do, biwi dila do. Yeah, this is what people go for, zero knowledge. They don't know this is actually a place for knowledge. A knowledge which cannot be taught in so-called your city schools and colleges, which referred Bhagavad Shanda and Amarka institutions. Useless places, simply waste of time. You may learn something from your livelihood, but you get zero knowledge from there. You can learn some skill, papi pet ka sawal hai, but you do not get any knowledge from them. Waste of time. In many colleges, they do Saraswati Puja also. On the first day, every year they do big Saraswati Puja. But at the end of the year, no knowledge was given. Simply, they learned some skills. And then, because the knowledge is given, their life becomes so-called institutional, becoming hubnut of sinful activities. That is their level of, that's why Shudras only. Anyway, they're unfit for spiritual knowledge. The supreme science was received through the chain of disciplic succession, saintly king, and not only the normal people, even the kings were very saintly, even they used to understand spiritual knowledge. We have to hear not from telephone, from an authorized person, but it is he who has real knowledge. Okay? So it's not that the science is not searching for truth, but they don't know how to search for truth. They're going it in a wrong way. By experimentation, with the 4 defect senses, the science has spent last 300 years with the 4 defects of human being to try to search for knowledge, and they're still lost. And here it is, we have understood Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We understood how great the Shat Goswamis are. We understood how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. We understood who Radha Rani is there. We understood the beautiful life in Goloka and Vaikuntha where you want to go. But what happens? What is the difference? We just heard from the right source. That's all. It's not that we are the most intelligent, but we use the right process. Therefore, you can get some knowledge. Otherwise, with the 4 defects, that's a knowledge created by the conditioned soul is also defective conditioned soul, also defective. Okay.
উপনিষদ সহিত সূত্র কহে যে এই তত্ত্ব মুখ্য বৃত্তে সেই অর্থ পরম মহত্ব.
Translation. The absolute truth is described in the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra, but one must understand the verses as they are. That is the supreme glory in understanding. Purport. It has become fashionable since the time of Shankaracharya to explain everything regarding the Shastras in an indirect way. Scholars take pride in explaining everything in their own way, and they declare that one can understand the Vedic scriptures in the way he likes. This, any way you like, method is foolishness, and it has created havoc in the Vedic culture. One cannot accept scientific knowledge in his own whimsical way. In the science of mathematics, for example, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And one cannot make it equal 3 or 5. Yet, although it is not possible to alter real knowledge, people have taken to the fashion of understanding Vedic knowledge in any way they like. It is for this reason that we have presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. We cannot create meanings by concoction. Sometimes the commentators say that the word Kurukshetra in the first verse of Bhagavad Gita refers to one's body, but we do not accept this. We understand that Kurukshetra is a place that still exists, and according to the Vedic version, it is the Dharma Kshetra, or a place of pilgrimage. People still go there to perform Vedic sacrifices. Foolish commentators, however, say that Kurukshetra means the body and that Pancha Pandava refers to the 5 senses. In this way, they distort the meaning and people are misled. Here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms that all Vedic literatures, including the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and others, where Shruti, Smriti, or Nyaya must be understood according to their original statements. To describe the direct meaning of Vedic literatures is glorious, but to describe them in one's own way, using imperfect senses and imperfect knowledge, is a disastrous blunder. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully deprecated the attempt to describe the Vedas in this way. Regarding the Upanishads, the following 11 Upanishads are considered to be the topmost: Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Manduka, Mandukya, Taitiriya, Aitreya, Chandogya, Bruhat Aranyaka, and Shetashvatara. However, in the Muktiko Upanishad, verses 30 to 39, there is a description of 108 Upanishads. They are as follows: Ishopanishad, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Manduka Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Taitriyotriya Upanishad, Aitreyo Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Brihat Aryanyaka Upanishad, Brahmopanishad, Kaivalyopanishad, Jabalopanishad, Shvetashvatar Upanishad, Hamsopanishad, Aruneyo Upanishad, Garbhopanishad, Narayana Upanishad, Paramhamsopanishad, Amruto Bindu Upanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad, Shiropanishad, Atharva Shikhopanishad, Maitaranya Upanishad, Kausikya Upanishad, Brihad Jabal Upanishad, Nrisimha Tapaniyo Upanishad, Kalagni Rudropanishad, Maitreya Upanishad, Subhalo Upanishad, Kshurik Upanishad, Mantrik Upanishad, Sarva Saropanishad, Nira Lambopanishad, Shuka Rahasya Upanishad, Vajra Shuchik Upanishad, Tejo Bindu Upanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad, Dhyana Bindu Upanishad, Brahma Vidyopanishad, Yoga Tattvopanishad, Atma Vadhopanishad, Narada Parivrajako Trishikya Upanishad, Sita Upanishad, Yoga Chudamanni Upanishad, Nirvana Upanishad, Mandala Brahmopanishad, Dakshina Murti Upanishad, Sharabhopanishad, Skandhopanishad, Mahanarayana Upanishad, Advaya Tarokopanishad, Rama Rahasyopanishad, Rama Tapanya Upanishad, Vasudevopanishad, Mudgalopanishad, Shandilopanishad, Paingalopanishad, Bhikshupanishad, Bahad Upanishad, Sharirukopanishad, Yoga Shukopanishad, Turiyatito Upanishad, Sannyas Upanishad, Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Upanishad, Malikopanishad, Avatyakto Upanishad, Ekaksharo Upanishad, Puranopanishad, Suryopanishad, Akshopanishad, Adhyatmanopanishad, Pundikopanishad, Savitryopanishad, Atmopanishad, Pashupato Upanishad, Param Brahmopanishad, Avadhutopanishad, Tripura Tapanopanishad, Devya Upanishad, Tripura Upanishad, Khatha Rudropanishad, Bhavanopanishad, Hridayopanishad, Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, Bhasmopanishad, Rudrakshopanishad, Ghanopanishad, Dashanopanishad, Tarasara Upanishad, Mahavakya Upanishad, Pancha Brahmopanishad, Prangnagni, Hotropanishad, Gopala Tapani Upanishad, Krishnopanishad, Yagna Valikyopanishad, Vararoho Upanishad, Shatyanya Upanishad, Hayagriva Upanishad, Dhattatreya Upanishad, Garudo Upanishad, Kali Upanishad, Jabali Upanishad, Saubhagya Upanishad, Saraswati Rahasya Upanishad, Bahuru Upanishad, Mukti Kaponishad. Thus, there are 108 generally accepted Upanishads, of which 11 are the most important as previously stated. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So let us understand this. Okay, so the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is beginning it retreats with the saying that the verses of the Ved, just like a sun, you don't, if you want to see the sun, do you take your torch to see the sun? It is self-evident. So similarly, the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedic literatures should be taken directly. Prabhupada gave an example, just like suppose somebody says, my house in the ocean. How can somebody's house be in the ocean? You immediately get something is wrong with this. Maybe he's telling near the ocean or something. Okay? So similarly, there are sometimes when meaning is hazy, we think of some kind of interpretation. When the meaning is direct, why you need to interpret? There is no need to. This is the fundamental mistake of the people when they take. You know, there are some narrations in the Bhagavatam where we have indirect meaning, but it is explained immediately. Just like we heard the story of Puranjana, it has indirect meaning, but right in the And the Narad Muni at the end explains this just an analogy. You know, when Gandhi wanted to explain from Gita non-violence, how can he do that? Every chapter Krishna is saying, Yuddha, Yuddhasva, so many words they found with Yuddha. So how can that book be said to a book of non-violence, a book of violence, kill? But at the same time, you know, what he wants to explain non-violence of Gita. So what he does, he pulls the carpet below the whole field. You know, in the house he pulled the carpet. Everything goes upside down. He says, actually there was no war. You cannot say that. See, you can take an indirect meaning for everything. Just like in the Krishna book, you know, all the demons killed by Krishna, there is an indirect meaning of that. That refers to different vasanas within our heart. Okay. But you cannot give up the direct meaning. Krishna did kill the demons. It's not that there's an analogy. So the body as the five senses and all is a beautiful analogy. We are not disputing that. But you cannot use it to dispute the very fact that actually Mahabharata was there. Right? It's a beautiful analogy. Body means five senses, 1,000 desires. Many acharyas may also use this analogy. Okay? But we are not disputing that fact. That's wonderful. But you cannot take away the fact that Mahabharata existed. How can you, Madhvacharya will say that he was there in that as Bhima. You know? Himself was there. You know, how will he agree to this fact that this is the whole story? It's not an analogy, I was there, I was fighting. So all the acharyas, they never dispute the facts. Now this is very strange way. And Prabhupada says like when he was, you know, Prabhupada did not have a commentary of Bhagavad Gita in the beginning. He was reading Radha Krishna's Bhagavad Gita when he began his movement in America. He was using that purport his own and his translation because he didn't have anything ready with him and movement had started. So later he wrote his own commentary and gave a huge explanation why did he have to do that. So Prabhupada said that in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, when I want to write Bhagavad Gita, what do? Everywhere I saw everybody is putting his own ideas in the name of Bhagavad Gita. You know? If you want to put your ideas, you put your own name. We are telling Bhagavad Gita, I should exactly what Krishna wants to speak. Krishna has a will, and this Bhagavad Gita wants to present the will of Krishna, not the will of a conditioned soul, covered in the name of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is saying, this is not true. So if you take interpreted meaning, we can twist anything. You know, we can say, yes, we are, today we are attended from the Bhagavad Gita class, and there are classes in various colleges, and there are so many colleges in India. India is one part of the world. Now, what are you doing, you know? There is a Bhagavatam class going on. You can interpret and take it somewhere else. Faint. Don't interpret. Take the direct meaning. Okay, that is what and that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Don't cover the meaning of the Vedas with the cloud of your interpretation. Do not do that. Okay, this is what this was. I think 9:15 now. We already extended 15 minutes. I think we should not value everybody's time. We will end now. Thank you very much. So please take your essences, take your time, study these conversations. Sometimes you may be in a situation, somebody tells you Mayavada tattva, you will be able to understand, at least yourself understand why it is wrong. And if you have better understanding, then what happens? Religion with philosophy is good. Religion without philosophy becomes fanatism. Somebody says your chanting is all bad, you will go and just hit him. Now, sir, why do you say like that? So when your faith is developed by philosophy and understanding, it is much more secure and true. There is realizations also important, but understanding is also important. Okay? So we should spend some time, even though it is laborious. Why we have to do this? We'll just chant Hare Krishna. No. Srila Prabhupada used to say that sometimes we are not just movement chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We can even should be able to take the scientist on the face and stop them from cheating the innocent mass of people. Correct? That's what is happening today. Atheism is being spread in schools and colleges in the name of science. We should be, devotees should be able to counter them. So we are not just doing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing and chanting in his time, correct? But when it came to reality, he could face even the scholars of his time who were teaching atheism in the name of Mayavada or whatever. Okay, Hare Krishna everybody. Any questions anybody
Krishna,
have?
Prabhuji,
Some
Dandavat
observation?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
You all reached back home?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat
No,
Pranam.
no, Prabhuji, we are in train.
गुजराती टीम
Hare
So
Krishna
everybody is happy.
Prabhuji.
Hare
यस
Krishna.
प्रभु जी
Yes, Very happy.
हरे
very happy.
बहुत
Very happy.
सुंदर यात्रा
हाँ,
बहुत सुंदर यात्रा
Hare
ऑसम
Krishna Prabhuji.
वो तो आप अपने ड्रामा के लिए बोल रहे हैं ना?
नहीं नहीं प्रभु जी यात्रा के बहुत अच्छा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सब बहुत अच्छा था बहुत सुंदर तरीके से यात्रा संपन्न हुई प्रभु जी
वेरी नाइस.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we are still enjoying it.
हाँ,
We are still enjoying. We are on the way, not yet reached home.
okay, you're still on the
गुजराती टीम
way.
अभी पहुंची नहीं है ना सब ट्रेन में है
हम लोग
We are enjoying prasadam, Prabhuji, from different temple of
ए,
Gujarat.
जितेंद्र, अपने वो लोगों के लिए प्रसाद लेके गया उधर से श्रीरंगम में.
हाँ प्रभुजी लिया था.
Very
हाँ
nice.
प्रभुजी पार्सल किया था.
रामेश्वरम,
Yes, yes.
श्रीरंगम.
हाँ yes प्रभु.
And I think our devotees yesterday, 15 devotees yesterday went for Rath Yatra from our temple side. Okay. Chalo, very nice.
कहाँ पर
And
कहाँ पर
no, that was near that was Ramanathapuram, next to Rameshwaram. You know, they arranged the prasadam for us. They also requested, and 15 temple devotees, those who stay in the Russians, 6 Russians, plus 9 from the temple, they went for the Rath Yatra. Yesterday night, there was a Rath Yatra. They participated. They are on the way back. They will reach today night.
Very good.
And we have to remember,
यात्रा कब है
पीछे पड़ा हुआ है इसके
कौन सी?
यहाँ रखो ना
नेक्स्ट यात्रा
अभी मैंगलोर आओ ना आप लोग. हाँ,
वो तो आएंगे
यहाँ-
प्रभु जी वो तो आने
यहाँ
वाले
सब कुछ
पूरी
है.
करो प्रभु जी.
यहाँ सब कुछ है. कितना कष्ट होता है.
प्रभु
पूरी
जी
करो.
प्रभु जी बाहर करो बाहर आप बोल रहे थे बाहर
इनको
फॉरेन
श्रीलंका जाना है, वो अंकोर वट देखना है ना?
Cambodia, प्रभु जी, अंकोर वाट.
इस्कॉन टेम्पल
कंबोडिया ना?
हाँ
Angkor
कंबोडिया
Wat,
आप कंबोडिया
Cambodia.
बोल रहे थे
श्रीलंका वेरी नाइस प्रभुजी.
नहीं चलते हैं ना, इस्कॉन के टेम्पल देखते हैं. अमेरिका में 108 टेम्पल है, उधर तो घूमने चलते हैं.
यस प्रभु जी
अभी थोड़ा वॉर हो रहा है, थोड़ा अभी लेट द वॉर गेट ओवर, उसके बाद प्लान करते हैं. ठीक है,
Yes,
यस
Prabhuji.
प्रभु जी
let them fight with each other, kill each other. After that we will go.
ठीक है प्रभु जी क्या बोले हाँ ठीक है थैंक यू प्रभु जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
हरे
आपका
कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा हरे हरे
Hare Rama
राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
Rama Hare
राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम हरे राम